Hey guys, welcome back and thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. We're back with another Sunday family betrayal. This is where I attempt to do a makeup look while talking about a real life family betrayal. Last week we talked about Sandy and Meg, whose babies were switched at birth, and the decision to keep the babies affected them for the rest of their lives. If you have not watched that video, I'm going to link it in the description box, or you can go in my playlist and there are several other videos there that I'm sure you're going to enjoy. So today we're going to talk about a honeymoon that went really bad. Okay, this is about a couple that went on a beautiful romantic honeymoon to South Africa and only one person came back. Now this is a couple. It's a couple story, so I probably should have put it in my Wednesday's Wahala series, but you know, if you have been watching that series, you know that that's mostly about DV situations, and there wasn't any evidence of DV in this story, so that's why I put it in this family betrayal, because this story is technically solved. Okay, it's technically solved. Why? Because um, the husband that allegedly deleted the wife in this story was acquitted of all charges, but there's still a lot of people that believe that he did it. Okay, there's a lot of people that believe that. So I'm going to be saying allegedly because he's been acquitted, and we don't want to keep saying that he did it when he's been acquitted. Sandra don't want to get in trouble, so we're going to keep it at that. Okay, we're going to get into that story in a few minutes, but first let me introduce you to our star of the day. For today's video, I'm going to be using the Novena 3 palette, you guys. This is a gorgeous colorful palette. As soon as I can open it. This is what this palette looks like, you guys. I am in love with this color story. So we're going to be playing with this, and if you notice, because we are getting into summer, I am excited. I can't wait. We're still in the spring, but I can't wait to get to those colorful looks already. So I'm not sure, of course, what I want to do with this, but we're going to play with it together. Let's do some makeup and talk about today's family betrayal. This story is another one from South Africa. Even though the story is bits and pieces, some of it is in Sweden, some in the UK, but the bulk of it is happening in South Africa. Anni Dewani was born in Sweden. Her parents migrated from Uganda back in the 70s when Idi Amin had exiled all the Asians from his country. Annie's family moved from Uganda to Sweden, and that's where they settled. The father owned a business, they were thriving, doing very well, and they had Annie. Annie was the last of 3 children. She had one brother and one sister, and their family was a very close-knit one. The family describes Annie as very funny. She would make people laugh. She was the light of the family. She was the star of the family. She's the one that would engage everyone. If like there was a party or an event, she would be the one to make everybody laugh, and she was always having fun. Her dad loved her so much, and he spoiled her, and he wasn't ashamed to say that he spoiled her. That's how much he loved her, and actually the entire family just adored Annie. So after her university, she had gotten a job working for Ericsson. And at that time, in her late 20s, she was already thinking about settling down, about getting married. She loved children. Her sister had 2 kids of her own that she adored. She would have the kids' pictures in her office. She would always talk about them. So she was really planning to start her own family. One of the things that Annie really enjoyed doing was traveling. And it's during one of those travels that she met her future husband, Anni Dewani. In 2009, Annie had traveled to London, and through mutual friends, she had met Shirian. Shirian was a young man, an accountant from a very, very rich family. He was also Indian, and his family also had immigrated from Uganda, just like Annie's family back in the 70s. Sharian's family was very rich. They owned a string of healthcare businesses, and he was an accountant running the business. Okay. So, but he was a very nice guy, very down to earth. Well, some people claim that he was kind of cocky. He would always talk about his riches, how rich he was. But some other people, like Annie's father, was really impressed by him, said that he was a respectful young man. And his family also was very well respected, very renowned family in London. So when they had met their first date, Annie was like, I don't think I really like this guy. I mean, he's all right. I mean, I don't love him like that, but you know. But anyways, as time went on, she really liked him. She actually loved him. So they started a long distance relationship. She was based in Sweden while he was based in London. And they would take trips, they would take turns visiting each other. And the relationship was kind of on again, off again. They fought most of the time. Sometimes because of the distance, sometimes for whatever reason, they would fight. And it wasn't, of course, a perfect relationship. Eventually, Annie decided to move to London to be with her man. And she rented an apartment and started living over there so that they could build their relationship. And during that time, she had invited Sharian to meet her family, and her father was very, very impressed by him. You know, he was a good guy. And one thing that Annie told her dad about Sharian that the father really, really liked was that Sharian had told Annie that he did not believe in doing the bedroom dance before marriage. You know what a bedroom dance is? You got it? You got it? If you don't get it, you don't get it, okay? So Sharian wasn't into dancing the bedroom dance before marriage. He had told Annie that, they need to wait until they get married. So Annie was so close to her dad that she had confided that in her father. Like, how close can you be to your father to be saying something like that to him? Anyway, when she told her father was like, that's the kind of man that I want for my daughter. The fact that he does not believe in doing the bedroom dance, it shows that he's a true man. He's a real man that respects himself and respects the woman that he's going to marry, So that's a good thing. That is a good thing. 3 months after moving to London, Sharian proposed to Annie. And of course, Annie said yes. So she was happy. Finally, she got what she wanted. She was going to be getting married. So the wedding was going to take place in India. And Annie actually moved to India for 3 months just to prepare for this wedding. Annie's father said he wasn't rich per se, but he had been planning for his daughter's wedding forever, and he is not going to spare any expenses to make sure that this wedding was a total success. So he put in everything that he had to make this wedding great. And the wedding, as it was described, it was out of this world, you guys. That was a come and see wedding. Can't see elephant, can't see performance, can't see everything. It was so good. Imagine if you know Bollywood movies, okay, the Indian movies where they're doing they had all of that happening. So they had to fly people from all over the place to attend that wedding. Right after the wedding, Annie was surprised by their honeymoon gift from her husband. Okay. Sherian announced to Annie that he had planned for them to go to South Africa for their honeymoon. Annie was ecstatic. Like, South Africa? This is a place where she's always wanted to go, to South Africa. And Sherian was so romantic that when they asked him why South Africa, he was like, oh, I chose South Africa because it was S for Sherian and A for Annie. Oh, like... So that is how this couple set out for a trip that is supposed to be like the most amazing trip of your life. The honeymoon started at the Kruger National Park, where they stayed for 4 nights. After that, they took the plane and traveled to Cape Town. They lodged at one of the most expensive and luxurious hotels called the Cape Grace Hotel in Cape Town. Now, we know that Sherian is a rich guy, right? Money is not the problem. So tell me why, when they get to the airport, instead of Sherian using the hotel's car service, okay, where of course they're going to have like limo or some black car kind of service for the hotel, right? He decides to rent a local driver. He uses a local driver as their driver. This guy comes with a SUV, not an SUV, a van, a minivan. And that is the person that Sherian decides to use to drive them to a 5-star hotel. Okay? But anyway, they take this guy and he drives them 20 minutes to their hotel. And when they get to the hotel, Sherian asks his wife, Annie, to go in while he gets a minute with the driver. The driver is called Zola Tongo. While Annie goes in to the reception, Sherian stays back and has a 10-minute conversation with Zola Tongo. And apparently during that time, he's telling Zola Tongo that, they're going to be there for a few days. So he wants to hire Zola to be like their driver during the time that they're there. So 10 minutes later, he comes in and meets Annie, and of course they go into the room and everything is fine. The next day, Zola stops by again and picks up Sherian. They go to the town, to the market where he wants to exchange money. He brings cash from London and he's trying to exchange it. And Zola takes him to the market because apparently they have better rates there. So he takes him there and they have plans to meet again later on. So in the evening, they book a restaurant and Zola is supposed to pick them up to the restaurant in the evening. So Zola shows up around 7:30 p.m. to take them to the restaurant. After the dinner, for whatever reason, Zongo claims that the couple wanted to visit, they wanted to see the nightlife of the township in South Africa. Like, I'm not quite sure. Maybe they were living in the city. Maybe the hotel where they were living at obviously was in the city. And he claims that they wanted to see the township, which is like the village areas or stuff, I guess. So he decides to take them to one of the most dangerous areas. Okay. That part of town was called Gugulatu. For whatever reason, he chooses to go to that area to take them for a ride so that they can see the nightlife of South Africa. And mark you that it's already about 10 p.m. or 10:30 p.m. in that part of town. Okay. First of all, like I said, that place was one of the most dangerous areas where even the people that live in that town, you don't see them outside that late. People don't walk outside anyhow that late at night. Even the police will tell you that they don't just go to that place like that for no reason. And if they have to, they'll have to go like in a convoy, okay? Nobody is just, no police officer is just waking up and just going to Guguletu during the day, not to talk of at night at 10:30 p.m. But that is the best place where this Tongo Zongo guy, what's his name? Zola Tongo. That's the best place where Zola Tongo decides to take this couple to go sightseeing at 10 p.m. So while they are there driving around, they stop at an intersection, and the next thing you know, they're attacked. Two men attack the vehicle, and they claim that, oh, we don't want to hurt you, we just want the car. But they end up stealing their jewelry, they steal their phones, and then they push the driver and Sharian out of the car and drive off with Annie. So Sharian, of course, is terrified, okay? He's going around looking for help, knocking on doors, asking for somebody to call the police. And he gets to this house and asks them to call the police, tells them that they've just been hijacked and the vehicle was stolen and the wife was in the car and all of that. And they call the police. Police shows up. He tries to explain what happened to the best of his ability, and they take them to the hotel. When they get to the hotel manager is like, how? Okay, he's asking the question that everybody else is asking. Why would you go to Gugulatu this late at night? Why would two hotel guests, these people that are staying in this very prestigious hotel, decide to go to this type of place? Not during the day, not in broad daylight, but at 10 p.m. at night. So the police receives a phone call that there's this vehicle, this Volkswagen minivan, that has been sitting on the side of the street for hours, and it just looks suspicious. So when the police gets there, unfortunately, they see Annie's body in the back seat of the car. Of course, they inform Sharian, and Annie's dad is already on the way. And while he's transiting, taking his next flight to India, to South Africa, they tell him the news that they found Annie's body. And the dad was just devastated, you know. So this sparked one of the biggest murder investigations in South Africa. Okay, because before anybody could say Jack Robinson, there were international media all over the place, because this couple was from England, right? They were from the UK, the English couple. So it just sparked international media. And the investigation started immediately. So there were fingerprints on the vehicle, and those fingerprints led the police to the first suspect. The first suspect was called Zolile Ngeni. Okay. Once they got to him, they started interviewing him. He just confessed at once. He was like, yep, I did it. And he called out one other name, and he was like, this is the person that actually shot Annie. Like, we were involved in this together, but he's the one that pulled the trigger. And this next suspect was called Kwabe. Okay. So the police went out to get Kwabe. And when they got Kwabe, believe it or not, Kwabe called one more person. So Kwabe said, oh, yes, I did it, but it's this person that hired me. And he called Monday Bolombo. Monday Bolombo was a receptionist at another hotel. So they went out for Monday, and Monday, of course, called one other person. And the person that Monday would call was a shock to everyone. Monday claimed that the person that had called him to do the job and he only hired Kwambe and Ngeni, right? But the person that had called him to do the job was Zola Tongo, the driver. Things are getting hot, okay? And of course, the police at first did not suspect the driver, because when Shurian had called on the day of the attack, when he had called the police to report, Zongo had also called and reported that his car had been stolen. So at that time, the police wasn't really suspecting him like that until his name was called. He was implicated. And yes, when the police came for him, he was like, yeah, I give up. I called, but it is the name that he called left everybody like, huh? He said that he did it, but he was hired by Anni Dewani, the husband. Like it was just, everything was just nobody could believe that Shurian was involved in this. And Shurian, of course, would deny it. But before all of this could even happen, before the investigation had gotten to that point, Shurian was already back in London. Okay? Like, would you stay in South Africa and try to help the police find the person who deleted your wife? He was back in London. South Africa police now had to fight for him to be extradited back to South Africa so that he could come and answer some questions, like to come and clear his name, because he was implicated in the murder. But in the meantime, they took the other four guys to trial. Zola Tongo, of course, pled guilty, and he got a lesser sentence. He got 18 years in jail in exchange for his testimony against Shurian. Ngeni got life imprisonment because, one, he didn't get any plea. He pled not guilty and said that his testimony was out of duress and everything. And they also found that the judge said he didn't show any remorse. So he was sentenced to life imprisonment. And he was actually sick. He had a brain tumor, and he ended up passing in the jail while he was serving his sentence. He ended up passing a few years later. Kwabe was sentenced to 25 years in jail. And Monday was totally acquitted for his testimony. Now, it's surprising that Monday is actually the one that hired the guys, because what had actually happened was that, from Tongo's testimony, he said that on the day that he had brought Shurian and his wife from the airport, that same day when Shurian had asked his wife to go in and he was going to stay back and talk to Tongo for like 10 minutes, Shurian had told him that he wanted someone gone. He wanted his wife gone out of the picture. And Tongo told him that he couldn't do it himself, but he knew somebody who knew somebody that could do it. So that's how he ended up contacting Monday. And Monday eventually hired the other two people that did the act. But for them to acquit Monday in exchange for testimony, that was kind of surprising to me, because according to the story, Monday never talked to Shurian. Monday wasn't involved with Shurian, so how is he going to testify against Shurian and give testimony when he wasn't? He was kind of like the middleman. But anyway, he was acquitted. So those four guys are out of the way. Now they have to see how they can get back Sharian, they can get Sharian back into the country for his own trial. So back in London, Sharian claims that he is mentally ill. He's suffering from PTSD and depression, and he's claiming that he's attempting to take his own life, and his psychiatrist said that he wasn't fit to stand trial. So for that reason, they postponed his extradition, the extradition hearing. They said he wasn't fit to stand trial, so he's not going to go. He's not going to be extradited. And he tried to play that game a couple of times, and finally, UK government was like, "No, we can't do this anymore. You're fit to stand trial. You need to go clear your name." And that's the question that Annie's family was asking. Like, if you are innocent, okay, you claim that you didn't do this, why don't you come and clear your name? Come and tell us what happened, because that's all that we want, okay? 6 months after the incident, they had her funeral, but the family still couldn't move on, okay? The family they didn't have closure because they didn't know what had happened to their daughter. They just want to know the truth. So why don't you come and tell us what happened to our daughter? So finally, he's extradited to South Africa. Before he's extradited, though, there's this big news that comes out about him. Before Sharian is extradited, he's already in the news, okay? He's on the news in the UK, all over the place. They're talking about him, about the case in South Africa and everything, how he's implicated. So this adult dancer, adult sex dancer, if you know what I mean, he's called the German master. He comes out and reveals that Sharian is gay and that he's had the bedroom dance with Sharian several times. So at first Sharian is like, no, that's a lie. His parents are like, that can never happen, not our Sharian, He was happily married to his wife. He can't be that and all of that. Now, remember Sharian and Annie when they started dating? What did he tell Annie? That he did not believe in the bedroom dance before marriage. Okay. And they're suspecting that until the day that Annie passed, it's like she and Sharian never did it. They're suspecting that they never did it. Because, of course, he couldn't do it because he was gay. So while they were there, his parents were like, no, Sharian was happy with Annie. He was in a happy relationship and all of that. The truth about their relationship was starting to come out. Apparently, 3 weeks before the wedding, Annie had thrown the wedding ring, the engagement ring, back at Sharian because she was like, she didn't want to get married anymore. She wasn't interested. She called her sister. She was like, I think I'm making a mistake. I shouldn't be marrying this guy. I can't do it anymore. And the sister encouraged her, like, maybe it's just wedding jitters, maybe you're just nervous, this is something that you've never done before, and it's probably too stressful. You're in India all by yourself trying to plan for this wedding and everything. So, go ahead with it. And besides, it's 3 weeks before the wedding. Why would you be canceling the wedding now? Everybody is hyped to come and everything. So she was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. So they had little fights, and there was even a letter that or a text message that Sharian has sent to Annie telling her that, oh, if you think that this is not the best thing for you, I don't want to force you into anything, you can give up now and blah, 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 blah. So there were definitely holes in this relationship. But Back to the trial, when Sherian finally gets back to South Africa, Tongo is giving his own part of the story, everything that happened from the day that he first meets Sherian, and how they planned everything with Sherian, and Sherian had told him that he wanted it to be like a robbery, and he was gonna pay them 15,000 rand for for the job. And of course, he had told Sherian that he was gonna get somebody who knew somebody to do it. But anyways, he explained all of that, and even explained how the next day he had come. Well, there were CCTV cameras of him coming for the rest of the money the following day, and all of that. And he had met Sherian at the hotel the next day, and he said there's no audio on the CCTV camera, but he's explaining that they were talking about, Sherian was asking him if the job had been done, and he was confirming that yes, it had been done and all of that. So we do know that in a trial, the defense is there to create reasonable doubt. And yes, they did a good job at creating reasonable doubt, because they asked some good questions. Okay, deep down in my heart, I don't believe that this guy didn't do it. Okay, but we know that just because you're found not guilty doesn't mean you're innocent. Okay, it's just that probably the prosecution wasn't able to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you weren't able to do it. So the question that they asked was, how likely is it that Sherian will stumble on the first person, the first driver that he meets in South Africa? He asked him if he can do this for him. And the guy goes, well, yeah, I can do it, but I know somebody that knows somebody. Yeah, we can do it. Like, what are the odds? And I mean, maybe he was just lucky, but yeah, that created some reasonable doubt. Another thing that was questionable was the payment, okay? Because it's no surprise that he gave Tongo money the day after. But they claim that that money was just payment for the job, for him being his driver. I've hired this guy to be my driver, and I'm just paying him for his driver services. Can you prove that it's not the driver services that I was paying for? No. Okay. Although it's suspicious that he had that much cash on him, because remember, he had gone to the market to change cash. For somebody of his status, you would expect him to travel with like traveler's checks and stuff like that, and not that much cash. But again, you could say that the cash, it was sus, because they could say that the cash was so that he shouldn't have any trail, But again, there was some reasonable doubt there. So in the end, the judge that was presiding over Sherian's case, throughout the case, even before Sherian could come on the stand. So Sherian wasn't even given the opportunity to testify and prove his own innocence, to say his own side of the story. The judge claimed that the prosecutor didn't have any case. They were dependent solely on the testimony of Zongo, because they really didn't have any physical evidence against Sherian. Like I said, the things that they brought up, there was reasonable doubt. There was no physical evidence, so everything that they counted on was on Zongo's testimony. But the judge said that Zongo's testimony wasn't believable because his story wasn't straight. Like, he kept changing his stories. Sometimes he said that, oh, he didn't say this, it's the police that said it, or the police added some stories and stuff like that. So they threw out the case, which was so disappointing to Annie's family, because again, they didn't hear from him. They didn't hear Sharian's side of the story. So that's how this guy was free to go back to London and live his life like a free man, normal man. And his family is just left there to deal with it, okay? And they're not able, like I said, they're not able to move on because they don't know what happened to their daughter, okay? Her brother says that the family has never been the same after that, because it's like everything is just surrounded. The family used to be happy, they used to laugh, they used to play all the time, but since Annie has been gone, it's just been different, because everything is just about, oh, Annie. If the mom cooks something good, she'll be like, oh, Annie would have liked this. It's just so sad. So here we have the story of Anni Dewani, you guys. A very, very sad one. One very important fact I forgot to mention was that in the courts, the prosecution had suggested that Sharian's motives for deleting his wife was because he wanted to hide the fact that he was gay. Okay, he wanted to marry her, and he actually did marry her, but he was looking for a way to get out of the relationship without being like, without having a divorce, without going through a divorce, because again, it was against his religion and all of that. And even the Grand Master guy that had come out and revealed that he was gay, he did say that Sharian had told him that he wanted to get out of that relationship and he didn't know how, because he couldn't get a divorce because of his religion. So it was thought that that's the reason why he did that to his wife, which is so sad. Like, how would you take another person's life just because you want to hide who you are? You want to hide your true self? I mean, I guess the family will never know. Okay, and his family will never know what happened to her. But I'm guessing that they believe Zongo, because Zongo was repentant. He did actually apologize to Annie's father. He looked at Annie's father in the court and apologized, said he was sorry for what he did. And one of Zongo's friends was really, really disappointed at Zongo. Like, this is a guy he was a good guy. No criminal record, nothing. It's just greed, It's greed that would make him do something like that. And he wasn't somebody that was capable of, that's why he had to hire somebody else. He himself wasn't capable of taking a life like that cold-bloodedly. But I guess Annie's family believed him, and I believe them. I believe them too. I believe Zongo, Again, I don't want to say that he did it categorically because I don't want to get in trouble, but he allegedly did it. But I think that he got away with it. Yes. So what do you guys think from the story? What do you think, Let me know what you think, if he's guilty, if he got away with it, or if you were the jury, did you believe the reasonable doubt that was planted in there? Is there a possibility that he couldn't have done it? Like, this guy, his Zongo and the others, they are admitting to something that they did. They're going to go to jail either way. Why do they want to bring down this guy? Why? Why do they want to take him with them? What are they going to benefit out of it? Because the defense kind of stated that they believe that the guy saw this rich couple, mind you that this is not a regular taxi that will be going to that type of hotel, but they were hired for the job. Zongo was hired for the job. So he saw this rich couple and he thought, okay, this is an opportunity to rob this couple. But it didn't seem like a murder, though. It didn't seem like a robbery, not murder. It didn't seem like a robbery because if why didn't they take the car? Why didn't they steal parts of the car? Why did they delete her? So let me know your opinion. And let me know what you think about my look for today, you guys. I am feeling this look. And I apologize for my face. Look at my face. I have some unwanted guests. It's that time of month. So there's nothing I can do about it. It's even better here. My last video, it was worse, like all over the place. But yes, let me know what you think about my look for today. And let me know your opinion about today's story. If you are still watching up to this point, I love you, love you, love you so much. And if you enjoyed our story for today, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. Remember to hit that notification bell so that you are notified every time that I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Show some love, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.